Some great questions from our viewers, and I'd like to start off with this one because it really hits home. Shemp had this to ask: what would you recommend a voter to do? We've called, emailed, written, and tweeted, and it all seems to fall on deaf ears. What do we do next?
Go to their town meeting. They're out there now. It's the August recess. Unless they're so goosey they won't have town meetings, and many don't now. Go to the town meeting, and when they get up and say, we're going to cut spending, we're going to do this, just say, would you please be specific? I've listened to your mush now for quite a while. What are you going to do to restore the solvency of Social Security so that you won't waddle up to the window in the year 2036 and get a check for 23% less? What are you going to do with regard to the defense budget, where you have a health care plan where you pay $470 a year and no copay, and it costs $53 billion? What are you going to do with contractors? What are you going to do with Medicare, which is on automatic pilot, which is just going to be out of control, whether you call it Obamacare or I don't care or no care? It can't work. It's unsustainable. That's what you do. Just nail them. Just say, I'm tired of your BS. I want some specifics.
Can they quote you on that, Senator?
Yeah, indeed they can.
One of our viewers, Jay Fry, had this to ask about the Fed, whether or not they're accountable for some of the mess that we're in right now. How would you place the Fed when we're talking about the debt crisis, the deficit, and all those entitlement programs? Is the Fed even related to that?
Oh, sure it is, and I'm not enough of a wizard to know all the ways, but I do know that any time you have somebody that can do a QE1 and a QE2, quantitative, whatever, effluvia would be a word, not a good word. Anyway, and to go for number 3 on that, I think would be a big mistake, because then, I think I heard a gentleman before say, then starts the creep. Everybody's talking about the little guy. The little guy is the guy who's going to get cremated when you get inflation kicking in and interest rates kicking in. The money guys, the big money guys who sit around all day and play arbitrage and back and forth and hedge this and hedge that, don't worry about them. They'll always take care of themselves. But the tragedy is when you mess around with this economy like this and you have a predictable trajectory of debt, deficit, and interest, and you're not doing a thing to correct it, a real thing like $4 trillion at least in 10 years, the little guy is the guy that gets hurt the most. What an irony. What a sick irony.